Hey, welcome back into Eye on Agriculture. I'm Brityne Rucker. Buying farmland with growing crops presents unique tax issues. Here to discuss this more, we're bringing back Roger McEowen, professor of agricultural law and taxation at Washburn University. As always, Roger, pleasure talking with you today.
Well, good to be with you.
Now, Roger, today we're talking about a growing crop. So what are some of the main tax code requirements in this process?
Well, Britain, it basically has to do with the timing of deductions and allocating the purchase price. So when you buy farmland, what we want to do to lower the effective cost of that land to the buyer is to allocate as much value we can to items that we can get a tax benefit for, such as fences and buildings and maybe assessments, those types of things. And one of those has to do with some special rules associated with a growing crop that's on land that is purchased.
So how does one go about the deduction process, and what do farmers and producers need to keep in mind here?
Well, you have to allocate the purchase price between crops and land based on their relative fair market values. You can't deduct the cost of the portion of the land that purchased that is allocated to the growing crop. Now, while the IRS has not really been clear on the issue and telling us what we're supposed to do, I think those costs should be capitalized into that growing crop and then deducted when the income from the crop is reported or when it's fed to livestock, which might be in a year other than the year in which the crop is sold.
So are there any other approaches that can possibly lead to a better tax result?
Well, one approach to consider, I think, that could lead to a better tax result might be to lease land before you buy it. If you have a notion that you're going to buy this land, lease it before you buy it. That way you incur the planting costs and you can deduct those planting costs rather than the landlord that's going to sell the farmland to you. Now, that takes some pre-planning, but that might be one way if you have that window of opportunity to do that, lease that land first.
And Roger, you're actually coming my direction to Wichita, talking about some tax issues and answering some questions producers might have. Go a little more on that.
Yeah, that's I do this, and this is the 31st year of doing this for me across the state of Kansas through Kansas State University and the Department of Ag Econ. These are the K-State Tax Institutes, and we'll roll into Wichita on December 7 and 8 at the Airport Hilton on the west side of town there. And I'll do the 8th. I'll do a little bit on the afternoon of the 7th, but I'm the primary speaker on the 8th. So Thursday and Friday, we'll cover a lot of federal tax law updates. The State Department of Revenue will make a presentation. We'll have a presentation from a retired IRS specialist, and then I'll do an extensive amount of farm taxation coverage on Friday the 8th.
And do you need to pre-register to that, or can you show up?
Yes, well, you can show up at the door
Okay.
and pay at the door, but pre-registration is suggested, and that's through the Ag Manager website, the Department of Ag Econ at K-State. There's a link for the tax schools there.
Okay, awesome. Well, Roger, thanks so much for coming on and chatting with me today. Everyone stick around. Eye on Ag. We'll be back after the break.